Happy Valentine's Day from the Levitt Creative channel. In today's video, we are going to go over some of my favorite and most used Procreate quick tips. So the first one, we are going to go over copying and pasting. So you can copy and paste a layer by tapping on it in the layers panel, or you can swipe down with 3 fingers, copy and paste from there. So that is a copy of our outline layer for the strawberry. We've also got copy and paste this way, where you can just copy and then paste, and we get another shadow layer right there. We also have the alpha lock. So you can alpha lock with either by swiping with 2 fingers or by tapping and tapping alpha lock. Once you've alpha locked, you can color on whatever pixels you have on that layer, but it won't go outside of them, but it will stay on that same layer. So like here, I'm making like the little white chocolate stripes. It will only stay on that layer. It is not editable afterwards. So if you want to edit things in the future, that's something to be mindful of. My favorite way of recoloring something is alpha locking, then tapping on the layer and tapping fill layer. I use it all the time. And so in this sense, I made it all green, and then I made it all pink by tapping fill layer. And because it's alpha lock, it'll only fill what I already have on in that layer. I use that all the time. So this is my clipping mask layer right now. It is a overlay layer. That's the layer mask I have over it. But a clipping mask will only stay on the layer that, or it will only cover the layer that you're on, that you've got it clipped. Sorry, that was so messy. So here's another clipping mask. So you can see it only goes inside that color layer, not even on the outline layer. And I can color all around it, but it will only stay inside of it. So you got this cute white chocolate drizzle that will only stay inside the chocolate part, because that's where the pixels are in the layer that we have beneath it. Our next tip is the selection tool. So you can use freehand, then you tap the transform tool and you can move it around. You can also do the selection tool automatic, so you could tap the outline layer and it would do the same thing. You can change the automatic selection by dragging right to left and left to right in order to change that. You can also use the rectangle just by dragging and selecting it that way, or the ellipse option as well, which is right there on the far right side. You can draw that circle. I never get it right. So there's that option as well. We've also got the rectangle or the freehand tool. So here I'm going to draw a heart. Then I can either color it in. So it kind of works like a clipping mask or an alpha lock layer, where it only goes in those layers, or you can color drop. I've seen a lot of people do their entire artwork using the selection tool and color dropping. Super awesome. So that is the selection tool in a nutshell. I use it all the time. And these are, this is another way you can use it. So if you colored outside the lines and wanted to clean them up, you could do the selection tool and just select everything but the background and then just go in and erase. In this sense, I could like add texture to the background and it wouldn't just do it. You could either do it in a layer underneath or do it with all your artwork selected. You could color or erase. So another option or another tool tip is the transform. So the freeform, you can move it in any which direction, stretch it in any which way. To reset it, just tap reset. My iPad's about to die. Distort is moving it in different perspectives. So if you wanted to change, I use this one a lot when I'm wanting to like shift the perspective of something. Warp, you've got all these different points. So every single point where there's a corner, you can push it, pull it, move it, stretch it, and then reset it afterwards. So I use that one a lot too. Next, we've got how to add text. Adding text is in the tools and then add text. That's how you type it in. And then these are all the different things you can do to it. You can change the size. You can change the kerning and the tracking. They look like they're the same, but kerning, if you just tap in between one, you can change the space between certain letters, but not with the tracking. That's why they seem the same when you have everything selected, because they are the same, but one, you can do it separate in between two. Leading is the space between lines. Baseline is moving the baseline of it, and opacity, you know what that is. Then we've got, you can change all the different font settings here. You can make it upside down. You can change the attributes or the way it's centered. And then you can change it to all your different fonts or the different font styles. One thing to note is you can edit the text this way, but once you have it rasterized, it is now just pixels and it can't be edited as text afterwards. So now it's just like as if you wrote it out on the screen. Next, we're just going to have a brief talk about layers. Layers, I've got these big black dots to help you see when their layers are at the very bottom. It's in the farthest away from you or the farthest back towards the canvas, whereas up top, they will be on top of everything closest to you or farthest away from the canvas. And I hope that that helps you. A lot of people have a hard time if they haven't used layers before. If you wanted to pinch layers together, you can merge them that way. But I didn't do it because I had the overlay layer mask on, which makes it so I can add the color in a special way. But that is our quick tips for today. You can also lock the layers if you wanted to. You can delete and duplicate that way as well by swiping right. And layers are just one thing you just gotta work around with. They're a really great tool to make it so your art is editable in the future. And if you make mistakes, it's easier to fix it and erase stuff. So you can swipe right and select certain things from with the transform tool. So select it by swiping right. Anyways, I hope that this was helpful for you. Thanks for watching, liking, and subscribing.